Alright, testing, testing, testing. See if it works this time or if it's gonna freak out again. Just had like a mild freak out with the computer. Not sure what happened. Seems like everything's working now. Let's turn the mic down just a little bit here. How's that sound? Testing, testing, testing. That seems a lot better. I'm gonna let this run for just a minute before I actually get started and make sure that we're good. To start the stream over, so we've got a client that I made a dining table and kind of a breakfast table or a serving cabinet. I made some shaker style doors for the front of that, and while I was there delivering those pieces, she pointed out built-in cabinets that she had a contractor come out and build next to her electric fireplace in her living room. There's one on either side, I believe 3 shelves on each one, and then one big cabinet door at the bottom. And when he built these, he just took a piece of plywood, did a crappy little round over around the edges, painted it, and then screwed it right into the framing. It doesn't look nice. I told her that we could definitely do a lot better here at New Roots Dynamic. So I'm going to completely rebuild a new shaker style door for her. We're going to build the door itself. These are the frames. I've got one here and I've got a second over on the side so you can see, how big this thing's going to be. I've got the frames built. We built the frames with pocket hole screws. Got these plugged. They're ready to sand down and then fill. But the entire door itself needs to be made. So I figured I'd do that on stream here to show you guys a quick, easy, effective way to build shaker style cabinet doors. If you're going to be painting them, you are going to be able to see these pocket holes on the inside. They're going to be plugged and filled and everything. And once you paint, you won't be able to see the joinery at all. But if you were to stain these or just use a natural finish on these, you're going to see the oval plugs that are in them, right? So just making sure we're not going to have a weird drop here like we did before. Seems like everything might be working now. So I want to get our frame, get our plugs sanded down here, and get our wood filler in this so that these can both be drying and ready for our final sanding while we're working on the doors themselves. Let's check on the computer. I put a new chat bot in here. I'd like to see if it's actually working. I think they said it usually takes about 5 minutes or so for it to actually connect to the stream, so we're sitting at 4 minutes right now. Let's see if that connects and works. I'm going to go ahead and sand these plugs down and get these ready to get our wood filler in it while we're waiting for everything. There we go. Yeah, Nightbot's working. Chase, Robert, welcome in, guys. Welcome in. I just had a really weird hiccup with the computer, and my CPU jumped up to like 90%, 95%. It was heating up really bad. I'm not sure what happened really. It seems like everything's running okay now. Yeah, it seems like everything's running okay now. Got Nightbot up and running. Somebody type in exclamation point beard for me. Like beard. Exclamation point beard. Want to double check and see that the commands are actually working here. Still trying to get everything set up. I spent a lot of time in the streaming space, so I know how to do all this fancy technical stuff. It's just trying to get the laptop up to speed with it now, because I'm used to streaming off a big gaming PC. Oh, beard like a beard, like a beard and mustache, exclamation point beard. There you go, Mrs. has got you. 0 inches on her beard. She must have shaved today. She must have shaved today. Makes me wonder if the calculation's working, if it's just going to say 0 to everybody though. Anyways, let me go ahead and sand these plugs down real quick. If you type in exclamation point command, it'll give you a list of all of the commands that we have right now. Looks like I might have to fix the calculations on it if it's telling everybody 0 inches on their beard. I know it's lying to somebody. No, it gave Robert 1 inch. Ha! I wonder what's up with that. I must need to change the calculation on it or something. Ah, we'll get it worked out. Check this one out. Make sure that works. Thumbnail for like my regular videos. I use, it's software called Canva, C-A-N-V-A. I use the free version. I don't pay for it. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with the paid version, but I just use the free one for now. Yeah, yeah. Here, I'll type it in so you can see how it's spelled and everything. Canva. So that's what I use. It's got AI that's actually built into the software, which is really cool. And when you edit your photo, so I usually just either take a thumbnail shot with my camera, or I will go into like my media player and actually watch the video, and I'll just pause it at a certain spot and drag it to where I like the picture from that spot, and then I'll take a screen capture of that, which will save a picture that's actually pulled from the video. And then once you upload the picture into Canva, you can edit the picture and it'll separate the foreground from the background. So you can edit the background and make it like a certain color or a certain finish. And then you yourself, or the picture of what you've taken a picture of, it'll actually recognize that as the foreground. And you can edit that separately from the background. It's pretty cool. So when you look at mine, they've got kind of like a purple background, but then I'm not purple. I'm the normal, normal color that the camera would pick up. And then you can do all the different like text effects and fonts, and you can change the color of those and all sorts of stuff. There's a bunch of YouTube tutorials on how to use Canva, but you really don't need to use the paid version. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it, but a lot of it's like AI type stuff that you don't really need for thumbnails. It's more for like graphic design work. I got this one. I got the plug sanded down on this, so I'm going to grab my wood filler real quick and fill these in so that we can get the other one up here and sand that one down. Can you guys hear the music all right? I've got music playing in the background as well, but I don't really know the volume levels of it or anything. I've got the music playing in my earbuds so that I know when it shuts off, or if it shuts off. That's what happened last time. The music shut off and then the whole stream just shit the bed all over the place. Used to streaming on a $2,000 computer, but I've got a laptop that I use here at the shop, and it's just kind of a cheap, business oriented laptop. Hoping it works and hoping I don't have to buy a new computer or something. Get these plugs filled in, get onto the other frame. Both of our frames here are the same size. What she's got in her living room, the guy that made the built-in cabinets that she already had, one side is actually like a 1/4 inch narrower than the other side, which is really weird. Not sure how he made it a 1/4 inch smaller, but it is what it is. So I made this to the small side, which is going to leave about an 1/8 inch gap on either side of our right side. And we're just going to caulk that to the wall after I install it. Hey, what's up, Shoot? How you doing this afternoon, man? Working on some cabinet doors that I'm making for a client. I sent my wire through this one. Oh, yeah. Had this frame propped up against the wall and had the wire going through it to the plug. These are our frames for our cabinets, for the cabinet doors. So we're replacing something that another contractor did, and he just did kind of a shoddy job. So we're replacing the cabinet doors that he installed, and we're putting in new frames, building new cabinet doors to go on these. I'm going to go ahead and build everything, assemble everything, paint everything, and actually put the hinges on the frame, so when I show up, all I have to do is hold the frame up onto the face of the cabinet, nail everything off, caulk it, and then I'm out of her house. Super simple, but gonna turn the sander back on. Give me just a second. All right. Sand it down. Guys, there's a link to my Discord right there. If you click on that link and you sign up for Discord, I've got a free community space that I'm trying to get everyone into. It's got a space to just hang out and chat. There's a space that you can do video calls with each other. There's spaces in there for looking for tool tips or tool ideas or recommendations. There's a space to show off the projects that you're working on right now or ask for some advice on those projects. Really cool space. Really excited that I can offer that to everybody for free. It's going to be free for a lifetime. I'm never charging for it. I've seen a lot of really big streamers that, you know, they have a community space, but they're charging people for Patreon. They're charging, you know, just a straight monthly fee on their website to be a part of their community space. Mine's going to be free. It's always going to be free. Everybody's welcome. So click the link, get in there. Manly, what's going on, brother? What are you up to tonight, man? You just getting off work? You what? Heading home for the day? I know you're not making dinner already. I got some cabinet doors that I'm making for a client to replace the ones that another contractor built and he did a really crappy job with. Basically just took a piece of plywood, cut a rectangle out of it, took a sander, rounded the corners off, and then painted it. and put hinges on it that were just screwed to the 2x4 framing. So we're hooking her up. She ordered a dining table and a breakfast table, like a serving cabinet. It's got 3 doors on it and 2 pretty wide doors. I think they were like 20, probably about 22-inch wide doors, or drawers, I mean. All soft open, soft close. Really nice stuff. Packing to go to camp tomorrow. 28 degrees, bro. Better you than me, dude. I'm a big fan of camping, hiking, fishing, hunting, all that fun stuff. But dude, anymore, once it gets cold, you can catch me inside. Catch me inside. Unless it's hunting, man, I'll go hunting in any weather at all. All right, got these filled up. So now we need to figure out what the measurements are on our inner diameter of our frame so that we can figure out what size we're going to make our doors. I've got inside mounted hinges, so that usually allows for about a 1/2 inch overhang on either side. As these open up, they actually swing out a little bit, which allows this edge to come out and avoid the frame as it's opening. So let's get these measured up and we'll start cutting our rails and stiles for our shaker doors. I like the cold, no bugs or sweating. I get that. You do sweat though. Don't tell me you don't sweat. I don't care if it's like 8 degrees outside. You get to moving around with like 3 layers on and you start sweating, and then that cold hits that sweat and it gets even colder. Then your nose starts running. Your breath starts freezing on your mustache and everything. Nah, 28's not too bad. 28's not too bad. That's like right on that level, where it's like if you sit down for a while, you get cold. But that's not too bad. So let's check these guys out here. We've got 35 on our height, 21 3/4 on our width. I'm going to sketch this out because if I don't, my short-term memory will forget. See, I already forgot the width. These were measured off the cabinets that guy built, which is why we've got such weird measurements. So we got 35, and then we got 21 3/4. So that's going to be our measurement for that. Definitely do. I know you do. You can't lie to me, dude. I know all about that cold. We're in Indiana. I'm not far enough south to not know about the cold. So what I'm going to do, we need an extra 1/2 inch on our width, an extra 1/2 inch on our height. So that's going to be 1 inch total on either measurement. So I got 21 3/4 for our rough opening here. So we're going to go 22 3/4 for our door, 35 on our height. So we're going to go 36. Circle those. We know that that's our door dimensions. I've got a few pieces that were left over from another build. Let me see if I can swap this one out because this one's got some CA glue and kind of a wonky little spot that I don't feel like dealing with. Let me see if I've got another piece to replace this one. We sure do. So I've already got my dado cut in these, but I need to cut new ones for our height. Um, so you've got rails and you've got stiles on a shaker door, right? Who knows what the rail is and what the stile is? Is that the vertical or the horizontal piece? Who knows which is which? Trying to get the outdoor kitchen completed before Thanksgiving. Dude, I did. I should send you some pictures. So we had a problem with our septic tank this past summer. We had like a super wet spring right after an incredibly wet winter. And our septic completely filled. The whole neighborhood was flooded for a while. And, you know, we still have to do dishes and stuff like that. So I built a super makeshift outdoor kitchen that uses deck boards for a countertop. It's about this wide. I got a stainless steel double sink, and I got, you know, a big, nice, dude, it's crazy. It's like a brushed bronze kitchen faucet. Both secondhand, obviously, not paying more than like $10 for any of it. So, no clue, I'm an electrician. Heard that, dude. If you're an electrician, you can figure out plumbing. You just got to drop your pants a little bit in the back. So anyways, so I get this whole sink and everything. I actually like siliconed it into the countertop that I made and everything. It's actually pretty cool. And then I ran the plumbing underneath to, it's a pool hose. It's like a 1.5 inch or 2 inch pool hose that I ran out and then like halfway across the backyard. So when you're standing there doing dishes, everything goes down into the pool hose and it runs off and then drains off into the yard. So kind of a cool, you know, I would say off-grid kitchen setup. It's fed by a garden hose, so both hot and cold is actually cold. Well, let's guess. So we need 22 3/4 for these guys. Let's get these cut to the right width here. Yeah. 2 3/4 there. Use that one. 22 3/4 there. Man, that one's got like a weird little wonky CA glue spot there too. I don't know what I was doing with those. Yeah. Let's use that. Gotta roll, brother. Yeah, man. Have fun on your trip. Go live from there so I can check the place out if you've got signal. That'd be a super cool street. 22 3/4 right there. Yeah, check in at some point throughout the weekend, man. Let me know how it's going. Let's see. Those three cut together. Those three cut together. Let me cut these widths to size here. I'll be right back. give you the first little tip. So I'm making two different doors. I'm actually going to split them with another center divider. So instead of one big panel, we're actually going to have two half panels. And that means in one of these for each door, I'm going to have to cut a new dado, a new slot, in the other side. So we've got it slotted on both sides. What I'm going to do, so I stacked these when I cut them. I stacked them, I lined up the left edge. So when I cut them, I went through all three at once. And what that's going to do is it's going to ensure that all three of these are the same exact length. Not leaving it up to fate with the DeWalt miter saw. It's a really good miter saw, but it's also a miter saw, right? So everything might not be dialed in exactly to a T, but by stacking these together and cutting all three of them at once, you at least know that, you know, if they're off somewhere, all three of them are going to be off together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label these so I know which ones we're cutting together. So these are all going to be 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. That. Now we need to get our vertical sides cut. And we're going to have to completely rip those down. I just went and got 1x6 this morning. Did a little live, just kind of, you know, cruising through to Lowe's and back. So let's get that cut to length. For that, we're looking at 36. Double check what we've got. Yeah, 36. Let me cut this guy real quick. Bear with me, guys. The one. There's two. All right, so we've got lengths cut. My widths, we need to match what these are. I believe these are 2 1/4. They are. So we're going to set the table saw to 2 1/4. We're going to run these through there, and that's going to give me 2 pieces from each one. So 2 vertical sides for 2 doors. Go ahead and get that taken care of. Welcome in, anybody new. Let's get that subscriber count up there. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Let me get you spun around here so you can actually see my new table saw set up. Go. Now I can't see chat for a second while I'm getting this done, but I do want you to be able to see the table saw back here. Let me double check and make sure that that's in frame. It is for the most part. Still got some cleaning to do, but it is what it is. So let's get this set up. Let's do this the easy way. I'm gonna grab our top piece here. Made it. We're gonna grab our top piece here. We're gonna go ahead and set our width to this, and then we don't even have to measure. We just know that it's correct. Lock it down and send these guys through. So you dodge that knot. We sure can. It'll throw it right in the middle, so we're just going to go ahead and use it as is. Right. So 2 verticals for each side here. We need to get a dado cut to 1/4 inch to match what we've already got cut into these. And we need to put a second one on the outside of one of each of these for our horizontals. And then we need to just hit the inside of these for our verticals. So let's go. See, how deep did I set these? I think it's right at a ½ inch. Yeah, sure was. So we're gonna go ½ inch depth on this guy. Your top tooth. Like that right there. And then we need to set our width. Like that. We're going to set it just to where it's snug on that inside. Yeah, buddy. Now, it's definitely running high. It's definitely running hot. But I think that'll be okay. So we'll grab one of these from each side. Let's see, so these, we're gonna go all the way through, and then we're gonna have to plunge cut these top ones so that we don't have our cuts showing all the way through the top and the bottom of the door. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. See, this side, we've already done both sides, right? So it's a 1/4 inch deep. This side, we've just got to cut on one side. So we're going to do a cut on this edge, we're going to do a cut on this edge, and then we're going to scoot the blade to the center to kind of hull out that center of our dado. And this is going to keep me from spending a bunch of time getting my dado stacked with all the shims and everything set up. We'll just run through these things how they are. And to make a plunge cut, what we're going to do is we're going to mark right where the blade is going to plunge into the board on this side. And then we're going to mark right where the blade's going to plunge on this side. And what that's going to allow us to do is come in with our board and dodge where that's going to blow out the side of this trim piece, right? So we're actually going to start here, solid up against our fence. We're going to plunge that blade down into our wood. We're going to slide it over until we get close to this side, about an inch off, and then we're going to lift our board up off of it. And that's going to create, on the inside here, kind of a little round cut on each edge. And we'll have to deal with that when we do our plywood insert, but I'll show you how to deal with that too. So let's get marked for our plunge cut. And I'm going to come right where the blade's going to enter and exit. Right like that. Made a little mark here, so that's going to tell me where I need to place my board, make my cut, and then lift my board. Go ahead and get that knocked out. Sorry, I can't see the chat right now. It's over there on the computer. I don't know if anybody's talking or, what's going on over there, but thank you everybody for tuning in anyways. This streaming is a lot of fun for me. I'm only about a month in right now. Just started streaming on here about a week ago. I think I've got the streaming setup working. Not too sure about the computer. I had a weird hiccup with it just a minute ago when I tried starting this stream, but getting everything figured out with it so that I can go live as much as possible and kind of show you guys my day-to-day inside of the wood shop. We're going to let that blade come to a stop and then lift it right off. There you can see. So I've got about 3/4 to an inch on either side where we stop. So when we go to glue these up, you're not going to see at all where that insert goes into our side pieces. Go ahead and make that on all of them. I'm going to make this mark just a little bit bigger. It's a little hard to see while I was actually making the cut, but let's go ahead and knock these out. Let's see, this one I want this on our inside. Two. I can already tell with this table saw in here, I'm going to have to get some kind of dust collection hooked up underneath. Being such a small shop, everything's just dusty in here. Yo, what's up? Up to something? What's up to something? Sorry, while I'm over here, I've got my laptop set up on the complete opposite side of the room. I need to work on getting some kind of a TV or something mounted out here so that I can see chat a little bit bigger. Right now it's like this big over on the complete opposite side of the room while we're on the table saw. So getting to everybody as I can, but still trying to get this project done at the same time. So now we've cut the one side of our dado. We're going to come over and we're going to cut the other side of our dado, and then we're going to come through and hollow out the center. So let's get this set up for the other side. Something like that. And then we're going to hollow out that side. So we're going all the way through on our short horizontal pieces, and then on our vertical pieces, we're going to do the plunge cut, just like we did on the last cuts. And blade come to a complete stop so we don't chop our fingers off. And now I'll show you again. Now we've got both sides of that cut. And dodged cutting all the way through by making our plunge cut so that when we put these together, you won't see where they're actually joined. Pretty cool trick. Let's get these other three knocked out here. Right. I have two over here. Let's get these hollowed out so I can move on to the next step and actually see my chat over here. So now we've got both sides of our dado cut. We're gonna just center up that blade and clean up the center of it. There's just a tiny little sliver. We did a 1/4 inch cut. It's an 1/8 inch kerf blade, but of course, you know, it's not dead exact. I also made it just a little bit loose so that our inserts will have a little bit of space, you know, for expansion and contraction. We're not going to glue those into place. We're not going to caulk those afterwards. We're going to leave them just a hair loose so that they can move as the seasons change. So let's center up our blade here. Like that. And if I didn't have this outfeed extension on the cart that I built for my table saw, I'd be able to just tilt it over that back side and lift it off of the blade. But because we have that over there, I can't tilt it, and I don't want to do some weird thing trying to lift it and have that pull back on me. Already had an incident with the old table saw. This one's a lot better. You can tell the cuts are a lot cleaner, they're a lot neater, and it overall feels a lot safer than the other table saw that I had. I'm really, really enjoying this DeWalt. Let's see. Last one. There we go. Now I can get back over to where I can see you guys. Get the camera spun around here again. How's that look? Yeah, we need to, that one got me. We need to work on the dust collection for that table saw. Now my workspace here is just filled with pine dust. No more cutting fingers off, heard that. I'm gonna try my best not to. That sounds like an awful time. So let's double check that all of our pieces are the right width, the right length. Actually, you know what? I know for a fact that these are, because I didn't factor in the width of those, which is perfectly fine because we can just recut these real quick. It's always when you've got something running live that you end up doing something goofy, but at least we cut them too long and not too short. So let's check the length of these guys. Those are good. We've got 2 1/4 we set on these. Yeah. So that's going to be 4.5 inches shorter on these guys. So let's go right here. Are there any ugly spots we can cut off of these? Of course not. That's all right. We're going to go 4.5 off of this one. Double check here, make sure that's correct. So if we're about 1/2 inch in, that's going to set us right about there. Then if we're 1/2 inch in on this guy, yeah, that's what we want right there. 4.5. That'll be cut on those 3. We're gonna stack these when I cut them on the miter saw. Line up the left edge, cut all 3 at the same time. Those are gonna be the 3 that we use for one door. So that way we know the width on all 3 of those are exactly the same. And then we'll come take 4.5 off of these. Make sure there's nothing we need to take off on the edges. No. We'll just come 4.5 off right there. 0 inches on your beard still. No 5 o'clock shadow or anything. Let me cut these. Give me 1 second. Our next step, now that we've got the length of everything cut, is we need to work on how we're going to join these guys. And how I'm going to join them is actually going to be with pocket holes. On our centerpieces, we're going to do 1 pocket hole. I'm going to see if I can get 2 on the outside, which might work, it might not work. We'll see. But we're going to go 1 pocket hole in the center of each one of these centerpieces. So let's get the pocket hole jig set up. Grab a clamp for that. Dermatologists are always in a hurry. They spend all day making rash decisions. Good one, Mrs. You ought to have 1/4" screws, 1" 2" 1 1/4. Sweet. Okay, so let's get the pocket holes drilled. Ah. What's everybody up to tonight? Let's see, which side we want on the inside. Both of these are pretty close to the same. That side looks a little cleaner, so we're going to set that side to the inside. We're going to do our pocket hole centered here. I had this set up for a 2x as the last thing I put pocket holes in, so we've actually got to move our plunger out quite a bit for these. Right like that. Oh. Hook up the depth selection. And get our pocket bolts on there. those are looking good. And if anybody's curious about the pocket hole jig I'm using here, I'm going to put what I'm using in the chat there. It's the Masca Pocket Hole version 2. I prefer this over the Craig because it's got a solid aluminum body. It's not made from plastic like the Craig is. So, you know, that kind of tells you their quality over what Craig makes. Craig's really good at innovation. I don't think they're very good at execution. And when you put out products as revolutionary as some of the things that Craig produces, you know, you don't really want to leave a lot of wiggle room for other companies to come in and massively improve on your product. It's where I don't agree with them making their jigs out of plastic. Especially from the other standpoint of they're not cheaper. You know, if you're going to make your housings out of plastic, I expect it to be like half the cost of that Masca, and they're not. Why did the knife dress up in a suit? Because it wanted to look sharp. You and me both, Knife. You and me both. Okay, so now we've got top, bottom, and center. Then we've got our left and we've got our right. We need to make our inserts. And to do that, what I'm going to do is actually install one screw in either side of this so I can measure directly off our inner perimeter of this, our inner dimensions, because we know that we went a ½ inch deep. I could just measure off of this and add about a ¼ inch to each side. To make things simple and keep it from being complicated so I can measure this way, I'm just going to go ahead and install all of these and know that all of this is absolutely correct. And then we'll get our ¼ inch plywood out and get our pieces cut for that. What do you call a cow with 2 legs? Lean beef. Okay? Okay? What do you call an epic tale about a cow? Legendary. Legendary. Mr. Paulo GT, what's going on? Welcome in, welcome in. Mrs., I need to make you a moderator while I'm standing right here. Can I do that from this screen, or do I need to go to... Let's try that guy right there. Mrs., type out another message for me so I can make sure that that works. Welcome in, welcome in. Thanks for the sub. Did you see that number go up? Pretty fancy stuff, huh? We are making some shaker style cabinet doors. for a client that I recently made a round dining table and a serving cabinet for. So now we're just getting these all up to par here. Excellent, excellent, excellent. They make these really nice pocket hole clamps that I would love to get my hands on, but I don't have any yet. And what they do when you've got two pocket holes like this, it's got one end that's got, you know, kind of a brad tip point on the end of it, so it actually goes into the pocket hole, and the other side is just like a regular wood clamp. And then you can clamp and you can hold this together and tight while you put one screw in it, and then you pop the clamp off and you put the other screw in it. Really nice stuff. We need to measure halfway down and figure out exactly where our center is going to go here. So we've got 36, so we're going to put a mark right at 18 on either side. Right like that. Then we know when we center this piece, that's going to go right there. Thank you for the subs, guys. Thank you for the subs. I hope you like what you're watching. I'm putting a lot of time into this. This is only really my second full live stream on YouTube. I've been streaming on Twitch for about, out of 5 years, I'd say a total of probably 2.5 years. A lot of time off in between, you know, just kind of playing around with it, having a lot of fun over on Twitch for a while. So let's see, we've got 1.125" is going to be our center. So that's where I learned kind of the technology side of everything. Double check that. I'm going to take just a hair off of it to account for our pencil width here. You gonna ready up or? Trying to get a gaming PC so I can just play Fortnite from the shop. Loaf? What's going on, Loaf? Doing good, man, doing good. Getting the woodworking stream up and running here. There's our center on that piece. Making some cabinet doors for a lady that we made a dining table and a serving cabinet for. Replacing what another contractor did, and did a pretty crappy job with the doors that he built. So we're building some shaker style doors that actually have like a solid frame and then an insert on the inside. It's me, Ian. I know who Loaf is. Hello, me, Ian. What are you guys up to at home? Keep working here. Yeah, I was worried about that. Where we've got our channel cut for the center here, our screws aren't wanting to go in, so I'm gonna have to get a longer screw for that center. But that's fine. Let's go ahead and get this side. We can get our measurements taken. On the VR now, short attention span. Man, out of an hour and a half stream, it gave me 5 minutes. That's longer than I expected. And then we'll wait to put our other side, our other door together. I just wanted to get this one together so we could go ahead and measure for our panels on the inside here. But I think this is going to look really nice as a door, right? Gives it almost like a two-door effect. And we're going to have our handle mounted up here with our 1/4-inch plywood inserts on either side here. So for these, we need, I want these to come in. We've got our dado, our channel cut 1/2 inch deep on either side, but I don't want that to be tight and snug. I actually want our panel to be loose, so as this wood expands and contracts throughout the seasons, our panel will be able to just kind of shift inside of it. So let's go, let's see, we're 18 1/4 by 14 3/4. We'll say 14 5/8. So 14 5/8. 14 5/8. Write down our actual opening here, 18 1/4. And then we're going to add a 1/2 inch to either side so that we get a 1/4 inch inside of our channel. And we know that we're going to have an extra 1/4 inch on either side of play. So let's add a 1/2 inch. So we're going to be 18 3/4 actual on our width. And then we're going to be maths. What is that? Holy moly. Put me on the spot here, huh? So we got 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, so that's going to be 15 1/8. Actual on our height. What other commands did I set up on here? I don't even remember. My my laptop's running super hot with everything running right now. So I'm not sure entirely what I'm going to do about it. If I'm just going to keep using it until it explodes or bursts into flames live on stream so that I can save that and use it as content, or if I'm going to try and upgrade the computer setup here at the shop. We'll see. So we've got, let's see, now we need to cut our plywood inserts. Let's see what I've got for that, if I've got anything in here right now. I don't. Well, that's going to be a problem. I don't actually have the 1/4-inch plywood. I thought I had 1/4-inch plywood in here in the shop. I thought I had a bunch of remnant pieces. And apparently we used them for something else. But to go ahead and just wrap up the stream here anyway, you can kind of see what we're doing. So we're going to have our frame. We're going to have our shaker style door that's going to be mounted on some interior hinges so that everything is concealed, everything's hidden. We'll come back in a stream probably tomorrow and get the panels cut for this, get them all put together, start getting the paint and everything on them, get our holes drilled for our hinges. I'll show you a cool jig that I've got for drilling European style hinges where they're actually inserted into the frame of the door. And then we should be able to get, you know, once the paint's dried, everything installed and set up and ready to take to the client's house and install on her cabinets. Jen, you came in at the end of it. I do need to go through and make both of you moderators though. And I think I can do it right here in OBS. I just had it working. There we go. Where'd Greg go? Where'd you go? There you are. All right. Bye then, I guess. I'll be home here in a little while. I need to chat with Mom about something, but got everything started for these anyways. We got the frames done for the frame and for the door itself. So these will be able to be finished up tomorrow, and then I can go install them in her house this weekend. That'll be done and out of the way. And then it's on to the jig for flattening slabs. You know, big, like 2 or 3 inch thick wood slabs, big honking things. I'm going to build a jig that you can use your router on and kind of slide it back and forth, kind of like a CNC machine does, except you do it manually. And that'll be able to flatten one side of a slab, and then you flip it and you mirror that side so that you've got a perfectly straight, perfectly flat, usable piece of wood. So after we're done with this, I'm going to end up doing a stream at some point where I'm going to get all of that set up. And then we can start making some hardwood tables, because I have about 14 wood slabs that are like primed and ready to go. Anyways, thanks to everybody for showing up. Thanks for hanging out for a while. We've been live for about an hour and a half. I think that's a pretty good point here for the second stream. I'm going to take off out of here. I'm going to go ahead and pick up the 1/4 inch plywood that I need for these, and then we will be back tomorrow to finish these up. All right, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Have a good night.